Okay, so now I'm going to be taking a look at a video that the user The Progressive Voice posted.
Tomi Lahren took a ton of heat from her conservative fan base for wanting to oppose the idea of overturning Roe v. Wade.
Now, why would that be? Why would all these people be upset? So, the pro-life community has been a key base of the Republican Party for decades now. Millions of Americans have worked hard to elect Republican candidates or pro-life candidates in general. They've poured their blood, sweat, and tears into this for decades now. It's a moral issue that they have a belief that um, abortion is a bad thing. And they have the right to have that belief, and they have the right to express that belief. You know what I really think about this, what really gets me? How many times has Tomi Lahren talked to a person who's pro-life or about the issue in her tenure at Fox News? I'm going to say probably quite a few times. So Tomi Lahren basically just sat there, looked pretty, smiled, and that was it. Never did she come out and say, well, I don't agree with the pro-life community on that. I'm for choice. So for years, these people have been working very hard to elect pro-life candidates because they want Roe versus Wade to be overruled. They don't agree with the decision. Now, when the work is starting to pay off, when we are going to have the power to actually make a change, to do something to resolve the issue, Tomi Lahren comes out and says, well, thanks, but no thanks. Get out of here. Now, this type of mindset is actually not that uncommon in the Republican Party and in conservative circles. There are definitely more people there that are pro choice than you know about. They just usually don't talk about it because, well, they understand most of their base thinks differently.
Going to appoint Brett Kavanaugh. Now he would vote to overturn Roe v. Wade, and so that's very dangerous. Now, what would happen if Roe v. Wade was overturned? It wouldn't mean that all abortions are banned. What it would mean is basically all states can do what they want at that point, and so a bunch of probably 20 plus states will just outright ban abortion completely.
And what's wrong with that? Isn't that how things are supposed to work? Don't we, the people, get to decide on these issues through our elected representatives? Isn't that democracy? So, yeah, there probably would be quite a few red states who would put substantial limits on abortion. But, nobody's going to march into a blue state and, tell them they can't have it be legal. We're not trying to stop New York from having, you know, 9-month abortion clinics on every street corner, and each office has a clone of Kermit Gosnell in it, and have a big, you know, North Korean like statue. You have those big statues over there with Kim Il sung and Kim Jong il. Well, California can have one on every street corner except it can be George Tiller.
Happen. Now, Tomi Lahren came out, and in the beginning, it was sort of due to an electoral strategy, but basically, she was saying that, the way that we win is not by going on social issues, but instead other issues. Which I think that it's weird that she said that because immigration is a social issue, and that's essentially, the majority of her taxonomy is immigration, pretty much. That's pretty much what it is. All the other shit is just sort of, I'll mention it to sort of gish gallop for Trump and things like that. But here's what she tweeted out on Twitter. She said, for those who have declared I am not a conservative based on my abortion stance, I encourage you to do some reading on Barry Goldwater, father of the modern conservative movement and his stance on abortion and gay rights. So I don't know if I would consider Barry Goldwater the father of modern conservatism, But here's what I will say. I don't think she's too educated on Barry Goldwater, because if she knew anything about Barry Goldwater, she would know that he was opposed to the Civil Rights Act, and that is literally what he's most known for. He was most known for the Southern Strategy, and his opposition to the Civil Rights Act. So if your whole shtick is, being against racism and stuff like that, but the conservative movement that you claim to be a part of, which you're saying was started by Barry Goldwater, who is, anti-Civil Rights Act, that's probably not a good move. I don't think that's a good move. But anyways, she also got into a pretty big argument with Ben Shapiro on Twitter about this, because Ben Shapiro is fervently pro-life. And so they got into it, and I actually I wasn't impressed at all by what Tomi Lahren said. I mean, there's no surprise there, of course. There's no surprise there. But, she was just saying, oh, I think, since when can't we disagree and other shit like this? And it's like, okay, but Ben's not really saying that. He's more saying, talk about the issue, not about whether or not, we should argue. It didn't really make any sense. But I am a little bit surprised, on the other hand, to actually see that she's pro-choice. I'm curious as to why that is. I'm very curious as to why she is pro-choice. It's a weird, I guess, bright spot, you could say. I'm not 100% sure whether you can call it a bright spot or not, but it's definitely a surprise, no doubt.
Okay, progressive voice. So that's my take on the issue as a pro-lifer.